Here's an article is in relation to DMX. And shout out to DMX first and foremost, because I'm sure everybody knows by now that he's in a bad situation right now. And I see I try not to watch or see too many reports, because some people report certain things and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. I don't know what's valid or what's not. The last I heard, he had still not come out of the, if I'm not mistaken, a coma or anything like that. Like, he's still in the hospital. His family has come out to see him. People have been having visuals, things of that nature, praying for him and all that, which is dope. Because that's a part of my childhood, our childhood. We all grew up rocking with DMX. And
I was an adult when DMX came out. Remember, I'm the oldest of the old heads.
I mean, yeah,
I was in the
childhood
club listening to Get At Me, dog.
Childhood might have been a little too far back, but you know what I mean. Like, we've been rocking with DMX forever. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really praying for that brother. I hope he come out of it, man. Like, I believe with what, but I just really hope he can pull out of that, because he's an icon, man. Definitely a legend. But there's an article on page 6, where it says Funkmaster Flex, as a music industry friend, should have helped DMX. And I'm going to read a quote that he said in relation to that. He said, "The music business is a gorilla. It's a bottomless pit of happiness or depression." He said, "I don't want to say people don't help you, but I do want to say there are people who actually know that start struggling, but don't help sometimes." And then another part of it, he says, "People can find the picture they had with the person that's going through a tragedy in 30 seconds, but haven't called that person in 10 years. So Flex is pretty much coming out saying, he kind of, pointing it towards the industry. Some of the industry homies really not checking in on DMX. We've all, witnessed him kind of going in and out of rehabs. He's been on the TV shows, and he actually was on Drink Champs talking about his new album that he had just recorded. So things appeared to be trending up, which was dope. But how do y'all feel about Flex saying that? Like, is it really the responsibility of, his peers or artists, depending on, friendships? We know that varies sometimes with artists. Or is it more about the family, like his inner circle? Like, reading that and hearing that coming from Flex, how did that make you feel when you initially heard it? Jay Diff, I'll come to you first. What do you think about Flex saying that?
I'm sure it's probably a little bit of truth to it, but in the same token, who's to say that nobody was trying to get out for DMX? Unless he's somebody that's close with DMX like that, how would he know? I don't necessarily think it's their responsibility, because from I understand, there were people that was trying to put him in position to get help at certain times. But at the end of the day, you can't help anybody that doesn't want to help themselves, and you can only do so much. And he's a grown man. You can't monitor this grown man 24 hours a day, telling what he can and can't do. In the same token, people were in his corner and they weren't helping him out. Yeah, they will be responsible for that. But I think in the industry, we all knew he's been at this problem. He's been battling these demons pretty much the whole time. He's been in the limelight. It's just, it took an unfortunate turn, which usually happens when you're battling a situation like that you can't get control of. I mean, he's been incarcerated many times and locked away because of this, amongst other things. And for some reason, he just can't get it off his back. It's trauma that happened to him when he was a kid, unfortunately.
Right.
So you can't really place all that blame on the industry per se. Hopefully his inner circle has been trying to help keep him on the right path. Who's to say that they haven't? And I can't really speak on that.
I can dig that. Jay Moore, jump in there. That make you feel?
Well, I mean, while I think I understand Funkmaster Flex sentiment, sometimes you got to realize where it's coming from. Funkmaster Flex feels like he is a person who wants to call out people in the industry for not doing things because they haven't done particular things for Funkmaster Flex. So I don't even know if this is coming from a pure place. I may be wrong about that, but you know, I don't care. Like, you know, Funkmaster Flex be on some, like in his mind, everything is Jay-Z's fault anyway. But you know, this is the thing with a lot of times people just want to write off addicts as people who have just serious drug problems, and seeing it firsthand, you know, in my family, not to go into too many specifics, but you know, people who are addicts, it is a disease and it needs to be treated as such. And a lot of times we don't view that, like, instead of in this country, we treat people who are addicts, instead of treating it as a public health crisis, we like to just treat it as some sort of level of criminality. And so that's why a lot of people don't have a certain level of empathy for people who go through these things. You know, DMX, he's one of these people who's been in and out of rehab. We've talked about, you know, DMX being going into rehab, you know, on this show before. But, you know, it really comes down to, you can only help someone so much who doesn't want to help themselves, you know, and it's been something we've seen that has taken a lot of entertainers and people who aren't entertainers. I don't just want to leave it in the realm of entertainers, because that makes it seem like it's not that big of a deal. But, you know, this is a podcast where we talk about the hip hop industry. You know, you talk about Mac Miller, you know, DJ AM, like that was the one that really broke my heart, because here's a dude who survived an airplane crash. Who survives an airplane crash?
Oh, that's crazy.
And then winds up, you know, dying of a drug overdose. So, you know, this is something to where you could have everybody in your corner saying, yo, DMX, you can do it. Yo, I see the light at the end of the tunnel. But if they don't see the light at the end of the tunnel for themselves, you know, and they can't, you know, and they can't really see themselves getting to the end of this thing called addiction, because once again, it's something that you have to think about and maintain. If you've ever known anybody who is literally an addict, like there's no really such thing as a former addict. It's a consistent, you're tough, consistently in recovery, you know, and so that's where DMX was. You know, he could, you know, when he was on Drink Champs, and I remember he did verses, you know, like verses, and once again, we're talking about something with verses not even a year old. So he did it with Snoop, and it seemed like, okay, yeah, DMX seems like he's in a good place right now. But you don't know what it is when doors close and the light goes out. You know, a lot of people are fighting with this same thing every day, and you know, you could have 100 people in your corner, but you know, once you're by yourself, you have to, you know, you're the one that has to deal with this. So I don't want to say, oh, well, maybe Leor Cohen or Ja Rule or Jay-Z should have called him more. No, like
I'm not going that way.
You have to understand that this is about DMX, and this is a personal fight that he's been dealing with since before he was, you know, in the public eye. And so once again, at this point, the best any of us could do is pray for his recovery. And, you know, and if he somehow gets out of this and he winds up waking up and he winds up being okay, that maybe this is enough for him. And he sees like, yo, I can't do this again. I've been given another chance. Because once again, you can't help people who don't want to help themselves. And for all the things that maybe for all the people in DMX's corner, like it doesn't matter if he still wants to get this high that it puts his health in this level of danger. So I pray for his recovery. I hope he gets better, but this isn't anyone else's fault but DMX's. And I know that sounds cruel, but it really is like your personal fight with your demons, you know, whatever you
there's a level of accountability.
There has to be a level of accountability to where
there's definitely a level.
It could be one person that's in your corner, 100. If you're not willing to do the work and stay away from the things that you know are a part of your downfall, then there's nothing anybody can do to help you.
There's always going to be a level of accountability. It's funny that you said the part about Flex and, you know, how he approaches certain things. I didn't even think about that until you said that. Like, who knows where this is actually coming from? And even Terry made a good point where he was like, how do you know it hasn't happened? So that's kind of a, it's a real broad statement.
I mean, it's nice. Flex got to be in the newspaper, whatever.
Yeah, that's what
how many times did Flex call DMX? Don't talk about other people. If you didn't call him, don't talk about, like, you're in the industry too. Don't talk about what other people may or may not have done if you didn't call him either.
What do you think about this? Just on how it comes off from Flex's standpoint?
I don't care about Flex.
All right. It's cool with me.
In the sense, and what I mean, what I mean by that is, it's just kind of like what Jay said. Like, it's just you don't have to make a public statement about this. You can go help him in your own personal ways. DMX. I don't know if you guys saw the interview that DMX had with Talib Kweli and his show recently. DMX kind of looked a little rough, and he was also talking about when he first got hooked, and he was 14 years old, and it was like his manager or something that got him hooked. That his laced mentor, his somebody looked mentor up to. Or something. Yeah, laced his something he was doing, and he's been hooked since he was 14. So, like Jay said again, he's been hooked on this stuff. He's been addicted since he was,
teenager,
not even old enough to drive. You know what I mean? Like since he was just a little kid, and addiction is something that is demonized, and even I don't even have the extreme take of like, it's like on DMX to like fix it. It's just his issue. You know what I mean? Like, it's nobody's fault. It's not his fault. You know what I mean? We all have addictions and things that we're addicted to. It just so happens that some of our addictions aren't crack or alcohol or, stuff that's going to be detrimental to our lives. In the public eye like that. So, I don't know. We talked about this the last time that DMX, I think, was it when he went into rehab or got out of rehab, or he checked himself in?
Rehab. I think when he checked himself. He checked himself.
So, I mean, when you think about that, when even the statement he made, like he made the decision that he needed to check himself in because he didn't want to be detrimental to his family and everything like that. So, I mean, it's a struggle. And there's nothing there's really nothing I can say. I can't really put it on him. It's really unfortunate that they were first saying that it was like a trauma or an OD induced heart attack, and then they kind of came back a little bit and said that it wasn't. They didn't clarify that it was the heart attack was because of an overdose. Heard conflicting statements. I honestly don't know at this point what it is, but I'm guessing that's probably what it was. But I wish him well.
They was giving him oxygen or something for like 30 minutes, and that's partly of what's going on with him right now. Little brain function or something.
I said he's in a vegetative state. Yeah, so
I saw one report where they were like he's breathing on his own now, and then there was another one where it's like, okay, he's still plugged up to the machine, getting.
They got bad information.
Breathing. Yeah, like that's why I'm saying, like, it's a tough spot from a fan or consumer standpoint, because we're in the era of so many people, quote unquote, reporting, and you see so many things that come across whatever site you're on.
Well, a lot of people want to be first. They don't want to be right. You know what I'm saying? And so, I've heard. That's why I'm not really going off of anything that anybody said that's not directly linked to the family.
Yeah,
like that's where I'm at with it, man.
I mean, even his lawyer was wrong. His lawyer came out and said some wrong information. So it's but to just kind of close it up, I wish him well. I hope he turns the corner on this. It would, in an ideal world, it would be great if everybody looked out for everybody all the time. That's just not the reality of everything.
Yes, sure.
And we can't really put our own problems on somebody else, in my opinion. We have to face them ourselves and face our own demons, as DMX wrote about his entire career. If you've enjoyed this segment of the New Old Heads podcast, make sure to join our live show every Tuesday from 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/newoldheads. And we invite you to join our hip hop community on Discord. Access it by going to newoldheads.com/community for talks on hip hop, sports, music, news, and everything else.